You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Being paid a TV presenter's wage to be mean to members of the public, that truly is a dream job, isn't it? Anne Robinson must sit back in her chair sometimes and wistfully think to herself, how on earth did I get away with that? Every day a fresh batch of slack-jawed yokels would parade themselves in front of this curt Duracell battery and take this abuse all for half an hour of Z-tier fame and a 1 in 7 chance of winning about $5,000 tops. Such fools. Unfortunately, the Weakest Link game doesn't let you act as Anne, firing withering insults at people for not knowing that Wombat's poo is in a cube shape, or that Saffron was the lead singer of 1990s band Republica. That would truly be the perfect game, no doubt successful enough for a yearly franchise like John Madden or Call of Duty. Instead, we have to play as this squadron of working-class goofs instead. Not only did you come here to be insulted, but you paid Activision for the privilege. What do we know about the Weakest Link then, aside from it being an emasculating experience? Well, let me pour history in your ears. It gloops like custard. The quiz show had seen a bit of a renaissance in Europe in the late 1990s, thanks to the water cooler chat magnet Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Envious of ITV's success with their version of that show, the BBC Brain Trust got busy trying to invent something similar but legally distinct. Familiar ingredients were in place. They were stirred into this quizzical goulash. You had a dark studio, a charismatic host, tense music, swooping dramatic lights, and high levels of psychological stress. The BBC brought us this first in that favourite year of Jarvis Cocker's, the year 2000. The concept for the game is fairly straightforward. A group of contestants answer questions one after the other sequentially, which builds up a cash ladder. At any point before a question is asked, the player being asked the question can bank the money, which resets the ladder. If a contestant gets a question wrong without banking, the unbanked money raised so far is lost. At the end of each timed round, the contestants vote to evict who they consider to be the weakest link. However, this is open to abuse. If someone is particularly smart, they may find themselves ousted by the grasping, sneaky other participants who see them as a threat to getting their hands on that filthy, filthy money. It's like Game of Thrones, but with less regal gowns, dragons and tits. The remaining 2 finalists left have a quizzical penalty shootout to see who takes home the money all the contestants have squirreled away, and then you can go and get on with your early 2000s evening, be that watching Big Brother, listening to new metal, or playing Tekken Tag Tournament on your brand new PS2. The Weakest Link was an enormous success, with its initial UK run lasting from 2000 until 2012, when Robinson decided to hang up her snark gun and her belittleization hat. Like a serial killer at the end of a horror film, it refused to remain dead and made a return to the BBC in 2021, hosted now by lazy-eyed self-deprecator Roman Ranganathan. Across the world, Weakest Link was as big a success, with the show's concept distributed across the globe, second only to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in the countries reached by a quiz franchise. Often, the strict headmistress act was copied by the other versions too. Anne even did a stint in America herself, and they loved getting ripped to shreds, the absolute red, white and blue perverts. After the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game, released by Eidos, sold more copies than cakes at a fat person convention, Activision realised there was money to be made in minimal programming effort of a primetime quiz turned video game, and picked option 2 on the selection menu. That second option was this. Obviously, I'm not talking about going for gold, am I? It came out on the PlayStation 1 and PC worldwide, and it had a version on the PS2 that was only released in Europe. I'm going to cover the PS1 version today, partly because it's the biggest seller, partly because it's the easiest to emulate, and also because it's the jankiest, therefore the funniest version. Released in the same year as the Tarrant-fronted title, it was programmed by LEGO Game Factory line Traveller's Tales, before they started all that bricking about. The Weakest Link is a very literal version of the show. Why, it's as accurate as a cloned bee that spent night after night copying the mannerisms of the bee it's based on, and presents the action via FMV cutscene and voiceover. There's a perfectly low-res 3D interpretation of the TV studio, and you've got all the dramatic stop-start music all bolted onto an exact recreation of each round of the show. At the start of the proceedings, because you can't be present on your PlayStation disc in person, you'll have to choose from a variety of bloody British people being all British and that. Now follows a sequence where they all introduce themselves and I'll make horrible generalisations based on absolutely nothing apart from these little sentences they say.
I'm Angela, 43, a local government officer from Norwich. I like long walks in the countryside and watching the birds in the garden.
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm 25 and I'm a secretary from Romford in Essex. I like meeting with friends, watching television and shopping.
My name is Steve. I am 37 years old and I am a police constable based in Northampton. My interests include studying motor repairs and the history of the steam engine.
I'm Gary, 21. I'm a graduate living in Bristol. I'm into martial arts, movies and clubbing with my mates.
I'm Nicholas, 45, a commodities trader from Chalfont St Giles in Buckinghamshire. I'm keenly interested in current affairs and would like to get involved in both national and local politics.
Hiya, I'm Tony, I'm 39 and I'm a recruitment consultant from Chichester. I'm into adventure sports, cycling and quizzes of all sorts.
I'm Austin, age 41 from Walsall. I'm a civil servant. I take a strong interest in local politics and I write for my local paper.
I'm Jenny, I'm 31 and I'm a receptionist. I live in Guildford in Surrey. I like going out, movies, makeovers and manicures. Hello, I'm Maeve, I'm 28 and I'm a barmaid from Cork. I love watching old movies, playing all types of sport and having a good time with my friends.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lucinda. I'm 39. I run a catering business in Kensington. My pastimes are the countryside, riding and organising charity events.
I'm Kate, 22. I'm a medical student at Edinburgh University. I'm fascinated by all fields of science, but take an interest in the arts and current affairs as well.
Right, I'm Jez. I'm 16, I'm doing my GCSEs. I live in Longfield in Kent. I'm into skateboarding, action films and all types of techno music.
I'm Samantha, I'm 20, I'm a retail manager. I come from Taunton. My hobbies are jogging, staying fit and taking my Labradors for long walks in the countryside.
Hello, my name's Eddie and I'm 42. I live in Warrington and I'm a long-distance haulier. I'm interested in all forms of general knowledge and love competing in pub quizzes.
I'm Lorraine, I'm 40 and I'm a PE teacher in Glasgow. I love all sports, both playing and spectating, and go to watch Scotland whenever I can.
My name is Arthur, I'm 66 and I'm a retired bank manager from Hove. I enjoy watching television, especially current affairs programmes, and like visiting the countryside whenever I can.
I'm Barry, 38, and I'm a London cabbie from Catford, South London. I like DIY, travelling abroad, and watching Crystal Palace.
I'm Ravi, age 24, and I'm a trainee accountant living in Leicester. I play football with the local Sunday League team, and I like going to the cinema in my spare time.
I'm Rose. I'm 59 and I'm a housewife and grandmother from Luton. My hobbies are gardening, watching nature programmes and embroidery.
Hiya, I'm Jules, I'm 21 and I'm studying fashion design at St Martin's College London. I'm into visual and performance art, travel and anything connected to fashion.
My name is Sarah, I'm 47 and I'm a journalist. I live in Harrogate. I love meeting and talking with new people and reading society and fashion magazines.
Hello, I'm Sapphire. I'm 38 and I'm an interior designer from Oxford. I love socialising with friends, keeping fit, and all things physical.
I'm Tim, I'm 29, I'm a programmer from Beaconsfield in Buckinghamshire. I'm also interested in steam engines and native British birds.
I'm William, age 35. I'm an air traffic controller living in Red Hill. I love reading and I'm interested in landscape photography and DIY.
Cheers guys, thanks for coming. Sorry I insulted you all, and I'm sure the real people are nothing like that. Then the game plays out exactly as it does on the telly, albeit with a multiple choice interface rather than you actually having to know anything. This can be adjusted for difficulty though. Children and stupid people can pick the junior setting, where the answers are reduced to 2 options. Easy, where that is expanded to 4 options, and normal, where only the first couple of letters of each answer are displayed. In terms of the questions, I suppose it's the best interpretation they could have managed on a PlayStation 1, so fair enough. The difficulty also likely affects the amount that your opponents know, how often they bank, and how long they dither. That was my experience of the 3 modes, but I could be wrong. It happens way too frequently these days. The game is paced identically to that of the show, meaning that you'll be playing for the best part of half an hour per game, unless you skip Anne's threatening FMV and voiceover put down assaults on the gathered throng assembled in front of her, of course. The 3D model of Anne noticeably never faces you, and maybe she had that put in her contract after seeing the shifting, very PlayStation 1 polygonal horrors that make up her guests. They're a twitching, creepy group of oddities when represented in this digital form. Those faces will be seared into your brain forever. You're only with the crew for a short time, so you can forgive their one-note personalities that maintain throughout their invited stay at Anne's behest. When they're ejected from the proceedings by being named the weakest link, they will either bitch and moan like they're a wronged housewife, or they'll be extremely magnanimous and mea culpa about the whole thing. They all sound very Archer's actor asked to phone in something at the last minute though, if you know what I mean. You can stretch proceedings out with the championship mode, which adds longevity. In the show itself, there's not usually a repeat visit from the contestants. But in this mode, you can see if you can win 4 shows in a row like a big smarty pants. I know you can. I believe in you. Rather than save your progress, you're given a Konami-style code with which to input so you can resume your progress later on. That would be a long old stint sitting through 4 shows. There's a bend the rules option too, which lets you play around with settings like how many questions of a particular type you may get, how often the others bank, and other show affecting features. And that's about it really. It's a love letter to massive fans of the show, but hugely short-lived. The questions repeat a bit too quickly for my liking, and while the presentation is spot on, shifting skinwalker contestants aside, it's a fairly bland looking show to begin with. It's another one of those games that is kind of limited by the source material. It's a perfect adaptation of that show, just not a very good, long-lasting video game. Fun for maybe 2 plays at best. Eurogamer gave it a 6 out of 10 in October 2001. They said if you had to choose between Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and The Weakest Link, neither is particularly remarkable, but they would probably recommend The Weakest Link. CMVG gave it a negative review in the same month. This sort of game sucks, but they sell loads because people who don't know games buy them. This is the kind of game your parents would buy, and that should say it all. A 4 out of 10 from them. IGN gave it a 3.5 and said, "You'll bore of this in less than a day's time. In fact, I'd wager even before lunch." So yes, not very good. Next episode, Time Tracks on the Super Nintendo. Ooh! Like, subscribe, and thanks, bye.